Hello everyone. Welcome back to the next session of the metallurgy. Myself Pranam Jaising, who is here to teach chemistry. Right. See, many people are struggling this academic year how to get through it and how to get into the college that we have an idea in which that I must study. Don't worry, you can easily crack the chemistry behind the class 12 very easily if you follow the class regularly. Right. The very first unit that we are dealing with is metallurgy, in which in the last class we have done what are all the metallurgical steps in order to extract the metal from its ore we have seen, in which we have begun with the concentration process. When I say concentration process, it is the method that is widely used to separate the impurities called gangue. When I say gangue, immediately you must be able to recognize that it may have a metallic impurity, it may have a non-metallic impurity, it may have a silica matter, etc. Right. In the concentration of ore, last class we have done with froth flotation process and hydraulic wash. Right. If you didn't go through the video that was posted in the YouTube regarding the froth flotation process and the hydraulic wash, we will be giving our link for the same video in the description. You shall go back and get into it, and then you can come here and watch this video. Right. In this class, we are going to look into a process called leaching. Leaching is one of the concentration process that is widely used in order to purify the noble metals like silver and gold. Not only that, we can able to leach aluminum, we can able to leach any sulfide ores like lead sulfide and zinc sulfide, etc. There are a condition for which an ore to get concentrated through leaching. What are the conditions? We shall look into it. See, this method, this leaching process is entirely based on the solubility of a solute in a suitable solvent, which means the point which clearly states that all the ore cannot be dissolved or all the ore are not soluble in a particular solvent. The solubility of a particular ore differs from solutions to solution, differs from solvent to solvent. Right. So we have to look into it properly whether the ore which from which I am going to extract the metal of an interest is soluble in a suitable solvent or not. And after it is getting dissolved into a suitable solvent, it must have the capacity to get reacted with the other solution in an aqueous medium, which means if the ore is capable of reacting in an aqueous medium, only then I can able to concentrate the ore via leaching. Okay, what I am going to do now in this leaching process? In this leaching process, the ore first it has to be gets crushed as a very tiny particle. Right. After crushing the ore, what it has been done? It has been allowed to dissolve in a suitable solvent. Okay, I have dissolved in it in a suitable solvent. What is the thing that could possibly witness? We can able to find a soluble salt or a soluble complex which comprises of a ore through which I am going to extract my metal of interest. Right. What are the insoluble? Do we get any insoluble over there? Yes, we will be able to get the insoluble. What is it insoluble? The impurities gangue, which remains insoluble over there. Right. After dissolving it in a particular solvent, there are something from the ore which can get into solubilized. There are certain things which can be exist as an insoluble. The one which is insoluble is existing as a gangue as it is. The one which is soluble will definitely have the metal, which metal of an interest from the ore. Right. This leaching process can be done in various ways. Right. We are going to look into what are all the next method, what are all the various method that it could involve in the process called leaching. Right. The very first one is cyanide leaching. When I say cyanide leaching, this process is widely used to concentrate the gold. Okay. Sir, the major source for the gold is the earth. Through the earth, by a process called mining, I am able to get gold. Actually, we are getting gold as it is. That is why it has been directly taken into the jewelry shop for its manufacturing right, sir. No. It is not in such a way. The ore which has gold is not completely the pure form of a gold. It may have silica matter also, or various other impurities. So, in order to remove the impurities separately, in order to remove the gangue separately, it must undergo the concentration process. The gold will undergo the concentration process called cyanide leaching. Okay. What I need to do? I have to crush the ore. The ore of gold, first it has to be crushed. Okay. I have crushed the ore. What I need to do? I must able to treat the ore which is crushed with the sodium cyanide, which is aerated and dilute solution. Okay. Suppose if gold is able to react with aerated dilute solution of a sodium cyanide, it must able to find the formation of a soluble complex. What is the soluble complex that it could possibly form? The complex is formed by gold. We shall see the reaction right now. Right. The crushed gold ore contains Au, which is gold, along with we have got cyanide, and it has been clearly mentioned that it is aerated dilute solution of sodium cyanide. So, it is when it is aerated, it is O2, and since it is a solution of a cyanide, it is H2O. Okay. What is the possible product that I could get? It was also already it is mentioned that a soluble RO cyanide complex, which is AuCN2, and a minus charge is left over it above the complex. Along with that, you will be able to find the nature of the solution, which is insoluble, is left as an alkaline nature. Right. So, in order to balance this, let me just write 4 here, 8 here. So, let me just write it as 4, then 4OH, then 2 here, almost equation is balanced. The complex compound that has been formed by the gold here is soluble. Since it is soluble, I can't say that I have extracted the pure form of a gold. In order to extract the pure form of gold, it must undergo another process called cementation. Okay, before that, we have said that already the one which is soluble and existing in an aqueous solution is called the complex that has been formed by the gold. Okay, the water thing that is left as an insoluble, we are very well clear that it is a gangue particle and it can be an aluminosilicate. I have mentioned already, since the ore of gold is purely from the crust earth, which is earth crust. Right. So, definitely it will have a silicates. Okay. Somehow I managed to separate the gold from the gangue. But I didn't separate the gold separately in the purest form. The next step will definitely result in the formation of a pure form of a gold. Right. This step is done in order to recover the metal of my interest. The ore that I have taken is a gold ore. The metal that I am going to extract here is gold, pure form of a gold. Okay. From the complex, I have to separate the gold. What process I must use? I must use a process called reduction. When I say reduction, it may have different statement here. After writing the reaction, you will understand on what basis it has been mentioned as a reduction here. This process is commonly called cementation. It is called cementation. Okay, what is happening here? The deoxygenated leached solution which contain the soluble and the insoluble. Okay, generally the compound that we have arrived previously contains both soluble and the insoluble impurity. Right, the insoluble impurity is separated and we have got only the pure form, which is the solubilized form, and that complex is treated with zinc dust. When it is treated with a zinc dust, zinc will undergo oxidation, gold will undergo reduction. Okay, let's check. Deoxygenated, it is AuCN2 minus will be treated with zinc dust. When it is treated with the zinc dust, we will be able to get a complex anion called zincate. So, which is ZnCN4 2 minus. So, let me take 2 moles here. Okay, these 2 gold will take up the electron that has been donated by the zinc and gets deposited as Au. Here, the oxidation state of gold here is +1. Here it is 0. The oxidation state of zinc over here is 0. Here it is +2. So, this is a reaction which tells us both reduction and oxidation are accompanied simultaneously. Right. Zinc has undergone oxidation, definitely it is the reducing agent because it reduces the other substance by oxidizing itself. Right. So, this is what. Then somehow I have extracted separately the gold from the ore which has an impurity in it. So, this is an example of cyanide leaching. A similar method can be implemented to get separated for the extraction of an silver also. Silver also can be extracted in the similar way where I can able to separate the silver from its ore. Right. After cyanide leaching, we are going to look into the ammonia leaching. Sir, I have an ore which has nickel, copper or cobalt, any of the thing. Which is the best method that I could opt for the concentration process for it, sir? You can opt for ammonia leaching. Yes, ammonia leaching is the best concentration process if our crushed ore contains nickel, copper and cobalt. Okay, sir. What is happening here with the ammonia leaching, sir? Okay, if the aqueous ammonia is added to the crushed ore, the metal which is present in the ore which has impurities along with it will get separated separately as soluble complex, which means the nickel which is present here will take up the ammonia and deposit as a soluble complex, as like nickel, copper and cobalt also does in the same way. Let us look into it. Nickel will take up the aqueous ammonia and forms a complexes which is hexamine nickel 2. And if copper reacts with an aqueous ammonia, it forms tetramine copper 2 ion CuNH3 4 times 2 plus. Then if cobalt is treated with aqueous ammonia, cobalt can form CO NH3 5 times and Cl 3 plus. So, this is what the complex that all these three could possibly form when it is treated with aqueous ammonia. Okay, all the complexes that has been formed contains the metal of interest. All these complexes are soluble. If the complex are soluble, the one which is left as an insoluble will definitely contains the impurity which we call in metallurgy as gangue. So the gang might be iron 3 oxide, iron 3 hydroxide, or it may have aluminosilicate. Those three are completely left behind. Right. This process is not just done at the normal atmospheric pressure itself. In order to get deposited as a soluble complex from the insoluble impurities, this reaction must be carried out in a suitable pressure. If it is carried out in a suitable pressure, this reaction will take place consecutively, properly, thoroughly, which means we will be able to get what we are expecting to get. That's it. Right. From this complex, I am easily able to separate the metal from it very easily, just like that. I can able to separate when it is treated with the suitable reagent, other reagent. So this is ammonia leaching. When I say ammonia leaching, immediately you must able to recognize here is, if my ore contains nickel, copper and cobalt, I can able to concentrate it with the process called ammonia leaching. Right. When it is treated with aqueous ammonia, you will be getting soluble complex. Don't forget it. Next one. Alkali leaching. This is quite important. Just kindly look into it. When the ore is treated with an aqueous alkali, which means the alkali, if I say it is sodium hydroxide, both sodium and hydroxide are in aqueous condition. Okay, let it be an aqueous condition. What is that? If ore is treated with an aqueous alkali, which results in the formation of a soluble complex. Which results in the formation of soluble complex. Okay, what is happening with the alkali leaching? Let us understand it with the help of an example. If I am able to separate aluminum from its ore called bauxite, the best concentration method that I would opt is alkali leaching. Yes, we are going to look into the example which includes leaching of aluminum from its ore called bauxite. Okay. When the bauxite is treated with a solution of sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate, both can be used. Okay. A solution of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide. The complex which is soluble that could possibly form meta-aluminate. Precisely, sodium meta-aluminate is the soluble complex that could form. Okay, sir. If we have a crushed ore of a bauxite, aluminum which is called bauxite, if it is treated with either sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate, directly will I get sodium meta-aluminate, sir, without altering any sort of a conditions? No, they react with each other at a particular condition. What is the condition there? The temperature and the pressure. The temperature must be around 472, 520 Kelvin, which means the whole mixture has to be heated. The whole mixture has to be heated in order to bring the temperature, or in order to contain a temperature of about 472 to 520 Kelvin. And the pressure is maintained of about 35 atmospheric pressure. Okay. In such a great pressure, I can able to allow this reaction taking place properly. Okay. All the complex that has been formed are soluble. The insoluble will definitely have an impurity. The impurity that we could say is possibly the gangue. It may have an iron 3 oxide, it may have titanium oxide, it may have even silicates also. All these compounds are just left behind as like that, as insoluble impurities. Okay. Now, we must get into the reaction right now. Okay. When I say bauxite, it is Al2O3. When I say solution of sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate, so it is NaOH, along which is aqueous condition. Then water molecule, since it is a solution. Okay, what is the product that could possibly form? It could form sodium meta-aluminate here. So here it is NaAlOH4. So this is the product that it could possibly form. In order to balance, let me just write it as 2 Aluminum is 2 over here. Here also it is 2. Sodium here it is 2. So let me mention it as 2 here. Hydrogen we need to check. Hydrogen here it is 4. Here it is 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4 here. Oxygen 2 plus 2. Oxygen here it is 3 plus 2 5. 5 plus 1 6. Here it is 8. Okay. So a byproduct that might be go is water molecule can go out as a byproduct over here. Right. So this is what the process that could happen. The product that we have got is called sodium meta-aluminate. Sodium meta-aluminate is the product that we could get. Okay. Sir, the complex has been formed. Whether we have separated or not. No, we didn't separate. Because the aluminum that we must be able to extract separately is still in the complex. In order to remove it in the complex, what I must do? We are going to look into it right now. Right. So, in order to remove it, the first thing that we must do is, we have already heated the solution at a greater temperature of about 470 to 520 Kelvin. We are very sure that solution will definitely be hot. So, before doing the other thing, I must able to cool it. And after cooling, I must able to filter it. That is what here it is mentioned as a decantation. So, it is decanted. It's what filtration. And then I have to dilute it. Sir, why I have to dilute it? Whether the solution over there is concentrated. It is not that kind of a dilution it is mentioned here. The dilution it is mentioned here is, in the previous reaction, it has been treated widely with sodium hydroxide. So, when the reaction is already carried out in a basic medium, in order to get neutralized here, I have to add an acid. Here, we are not directly adding an acid as like that. Instead, an acidic oxide is used, which is called carbon dioxide. Okay. I am going to know somehow, sir, it is mean dilution here talks something about neutralization, sir? Yes. Here it talks about neutralization, because a solution which is already basic will be able to neutralize if they are treated with a substance which is acidic in nature. Here, the substance which is acidic in nature is called acidic oxide that we have taken, which is carbon dioxide. When it is treated with the gaseous carbon dioxide, we will be able to get alumina which is hydrated. If it is hydrated alumina, I can able to separate easily aluminum from the hydrated alumina. Right. So, we will look into the reaction that has been carried out here. Right. See, sodium meta-aluminate. When I say sodium meta-aluminate, it is NaAlOH 4 times. This is treated with gaseous carbon dioxide, so it is CO2. I told you that we will be getting hydrated alumina, so it is Al2O3.XH2O. And the other thing that we will be able to get as a byproduct as sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate will be getting as a byproduct there. See, since it is mentioned as H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, it is not necessary need to be balanced over here. So, no need to worry about the balancing the hydrogen and oxygen in the given reaction, right. So, since this solution is completely basic, it has been treated with an acidic oxide called gaseous carbon dioxide, so that I will be able to get the precipitation of hydrated alumina and the bicarbonate separately. Okay. Now, what I am going to do, I have to heat this hydrated alumina of about 1670 Kelvin. If I heat this hydrated alumina of about 1670 Kelvin, I will be able to get pure alumina. When I say pure alumina, it is completely loss of water taking place, right. So, it is just Al2O3. From the pure alumina, I can be able to heat further prolonged time, I can be able to get this pure form of an aluminium through this alkali leaching, right. If you are going to extract, if you are going to concentrate aluminum, the best method that you could choose is alkali leaching. What is happening there? The metal which is present in the ore is crushed, powdered, and then it is treated with aqueous alkali. We will be able to get a soluble complex, and the nature of the complex is basic. Since the temperature is maintained of about 470 to 520 Kelvin and 35 atmospheric pressure, I have to cool it. After cooling, I have to decant it, which is filtering it, and then I am allowing it to neutralization for to get the pure form of an alumina. But initially, on treatment with an acidic oxide called carbon dioxide, I am able to get sodium bicarbonate and an hydrated alumina. If the hydrated alumina is heated prolonged to 1670 Kelvin, we will be able to get pure alumina, and with the pure alumina, I can able to get the pure form of an aluminium. Then, the next leaching process is acid leaching. Okay. In acid leaching, what are we going to do? Are you able to recall a method, a concentration method, which is used to concentrate the ore which has sulfides? Yes, it is froth flotation process. Sir, I do not have such kind of an equipment. I do not have a stirrer which is able to stir automatically. I do not have a pine oil. Neither I have a sodium methyl xanthate which is acting as a collector in the froth flotation process, sir. But I can able to find the reagent which is widely used in the regular classroom or the laboratory, sir, which has been kept in the school. Don't worry. With the reagent that has been provided in your school laboratory, you are able to separate the insoluble sulfide into elemental sulfur. Right. So, in this method, in acid leaching, I can able to concentrate the ore which is sulfide. Right. See, we have already seen zinc sulfide and lead sulfide is being concentrated with a help of process called froth flotation. Here what is happening? The insoluble sulfide will be treated with hot aqueous sulfuric acid which has been oxygenated. Okay. Let us see one reaction. Let me just take zinc sulfide and which is treated with hot aqueous sulfuric acid which is H2SO4 present in aqueous condition, to which oxygen gas is passed. Okay, what is the reaction is taking place? Right, zinc will take up the sulfate and go as zinc sulfate ZnSO4. Then this sulfur will be getting as an elemental sulfur just as like that. And the hydrogen which is present here will be taking up the oxygen and go as H2O. Here, what is the thing that we need to find here? Here, the sulfide which is insoluble will be converted into a soluble sulfate and elemental sulfur. And elemental sulfur. So, this is how the reaction goes there. Right. I know that you people are very familiar in balancing the equation. You just balance the equation which is very easier, and let me know the balanced equation in the comment box below. Right. So, this is what leaching process overall involved. If you think properly, you will be able to come to a conclusion. The very first three methods of leaching through which I am able to get a pure form of a metal by forming a complex. Formation of a complex is common thing in cyanide leaching, ammonia leaching and alkali leaching. With the help of formation of a complex, I am easily able to separate the metal which is of an interest, and I am also able to separate the gangue which is left as an impurity. Right. So, these are all the three leaching process which is kept as a common, and acid leaching will result in the formation of a soluble sulfate. Right. So, this is what overall process involved in the leaching. Right. In a textbook, we have got an evaluate yourself question also here. Okay? How I need to approach it? Let's see. Write the equation for the extraction of the silver by leaching. Okay. It is mentioned as a leaching with sodium cyanide. When it is mentioned here it as a sodium cyanide, definitely it is called cyanide leaching, and show that the reaction processes or the leaching processes is a redox reaction. I have to find whether it is a redox reaction or not. Okay, and since it is stated as and show that it is definitely a redox reaction, but I must be able to find, I must be able to show. Okay, let me take an ore of a silver which is Ag2S. If it is treated with NaCN, which results in the formation of a complex that earlier formed by the gold as like that. So, it is NaAgCN2, Na2AgCN2, then followed by Na2S, Na2AgCN2 and Na2S. Right. So, totally 4 sodium. So, let me add 4 here. So, cyanide or cyanide, there it is 2 over here, silver over here is 2, sulfur 1. Okay. Then followed by, as soon as the complex that has been formed here, the second step is cementation process. It means it must be treated with zinc dust. So, Na2AgCN2 will be treated with zinc dust, which results in the formation of sodium zincate as Na2ZnCN4, then pure form of a silver gets precipitated separately. Here, these are all the process which is involved in leaching. Okay, let it be as a leaching process, not a problem. I have to show this reaction involves a redox process. Okay, the oxidation state of zinc over here is 0 and here it is plus 2. Here it is plus 2. So, zinc has undergone oxidation, okay, and oxidation reaction is taking place here. I have to find simultaneously whether any other reduction is taking place or not. Yes, it is taking place. Here it is minus 1, here it is 0. Right. So, simultaneously both reduction and oxidation are accompanied in a single reaction. That is why it is called redox reaction. Right. The next thing. Okay. The next thing, magnetic separation method. The last process of concentration of the ore that has been framed in our syllabus is magnetic separation method. Right. See, if I have a ferromagnetic ore, when I say ferromagnetic, it is like an extraordinary paramagnetic nature. When I say ferromagnetic, it is extraordinary paramagnetism, right, which means which has lots and lots of an unpaired electron in it. You just assume it in that way. If my ore is a ferromagnetic ore, if I say ferromagnetic, it is extraordinary paramagnetism, which means it has lots and lots of an unpaired electron over there, and the direction of the spin of an electron may not be executed in the same direction. This is what the knowledge behind the ferromagnetic ore. Okay, I have got a ferromagnetic ore. Then directly can I apply it for magnetic separation method? No. First, you must be able to find whether are there any difference in magnetic properties between ore and impurity. If there is a difference in magnetic property between the ore and impurity, only then you will be able to select this concentration process called magnetic separation. Okay. What example that I might able to give? tin stone can be separated from wolframite. Tin stone can be separated from wolframite. When I say tin stone, it is SnO2. When I say wolframite, it is iron, tungsten. It has both iron and tungsten. Right. So it has both iron and tungsten in it. Iron and tungsten oxide, I would say specifically. Okay. If I have a ore with the magnetic property, definitely wolframite has iron in it. Definitely iron will experience a stronger attraction towards the magnetic field. We know it. I can able to separate this wolframite from the tin stone very easily, because tin is separate, wolframite is separated with the help of a magnetic roller. We are going to see that what is happening actually there. Right. It is not that only tin stone can be separated from wolframite. There are other ores like chromite, pyrolusite, which definitely has a magnetic property in it, so that I can able to separate it from the silica particle, which is silica particle is kept as an impurity separately. Since chromite and the pyrolusite ore has a magnetic property in it, I can able to separate it very easily from the silica particle. Okay, sir, you have told magnetic separated method is used if my ore is ferromagnetic. Okay. What is ferromagnetic? It is extraordinary paramagnetism. Okay. If there is an extraordinary paramagnetism, can I apply the ore to get concentrated with the magnetic separation? No, it is not so. There must be a difference between the metal of an interest, which magnetic property, and the impurity. Both magnetic property should be differ. Okay. An example can be said as tin stone can be wolframite, etc. How are we doing it, sir? Right. We are going to see that with the help of a video. You are able to find a two roller in which a conveyor belt is being placed there. A conveyor belt is being placed there, over which the crushed ore is being fed. Since this roller is a magnet, this roller is not magnetic. So magnetic roller will be easy to abstract the magnetic ore to this side, and the one which is non-metallic will definitely move to the other side. We will look into it again. Right. You are able to find with the help of a conveyor ore it has been fed. Since it is a magnetic roller, it is able to abstract the magnetic particle here and settles down over here. The one which is non-magnetic goes out separately. It is very easy to understand, right? The one which is magnetic will be attracted towards the magnetic roller. The one which is non-magnetic will be thrown out just like that. It is done in that way. Thus, magnetic particle is separated from the non-magnetic ore. So, this is what an example for this magnetic separation method. Right. I am coming in once more. There is a two roller in which one is magnetic, other one is non-magnetic. If the crushed ore is allowed to pass through this conveyor belt, this is called conveyor belt, and if the crushed ore is allowed to pass through this conveyor belt, if it comes here, the one which is magnetic will get abstracted by the magnetic roller and falls closer to it. The one which is non-magnetic will go separately and falls far away from the magnetic roller. So, this is what happening here. So, thus you have witnessed in 3 dimension how magnetic separation is taking place, through which how I am able to concentrate the ore. So, this is what. Right. So, these are all the process which involved in the concentration of a ore. Right. When I say concentration of a ore, the process that has been kept for our syllabus is froth flotation, hydraulic wash, leaching, and magnetic separation. Okay. With the help of all these process, I can able to concentrate the ore in a proper manner. Right. We have concentrated the ore. What is the next step? The next step that we have to do is we are going to witness right now. extraction of a crude metal. The very first step is concentration of the ore. The next step that we are going to look into it is extraction of a crude metal. Okay. This crude metal can be extracted in the two steps. First step, the ore will be converted into an oxide of a metal. Suppose my metal is zinc, it can be converted into its zinc oxide. That must be our preliminary step. Okay, somehow I managed to convert the ore into an oxide of a metal. What is the next step? The next step involves the reduction of a metal to a metal, which means the metal oxide will be reduced to a metal. Okay, right. The concentration ore, you just have in your mind that the concentrated ore will have a metal which is in positive oxidation state. The one which is positive oxidation state has to be reduced to the elemental state. That is what happening here. Okay, it has to be reduced into a elemental state. In order to convert the metal which is positive oxidation state into its elemental state, first it must be converted into oxides. First it must be converted into oxide of metal of interest. The metal of interest talks about what metal that I am taken it to for extraction it. So that's what, right. The two steps that must hit your mind when I say extraction of the crude metal is, whatever the ore it might be, it must be converted into oxide of a metal. And the second one is, I have to reduce, which means the metal oxide must undergo a process called reduction so that I am able to get a pure form of a metal. In metal oxide, the metal will be present in positive oxidation state. When I say pure form of a metal, their oxidation state of a metal is 0. In order to convert the metal which is in positive oxidation to the elemental state, the first it must undergo a process through which the ore of a metal can be converted into oxide. Okay. Here comes the next question. What is the next question? Sir, there are lots of possibility for the conversion of ore or conversion of a metal of an interest, which means I can able to convert sulfides of a metal, I can able to convert carbonate of a metal, I can able to convert chloride of a metal. Why specifically you are asking us to find, or you are asking us to convert the ore into the metal oxide, sir? See, there is a concept behind the thermodynamics which clearly states whether this reaction will take place spontaneously, whether this reaction will take place or not directly. So, thermodynamic knowledge gives us a proper details or proper information regarding the conversion of the metal oxide to the metal. Here, the conversion of the metal oxide to the metal is very easier when compared to the conversion of sulfide into the metal, when compared to the conversion of chlorides into the metal, when compared to the conversion of a carbonate into the metal. That is why preferably the metal which is present in the ore must be converted into an oxide of the metal. This is the first thing that you must have in your mind. Questions may be asked, why specifically the ore has to get converted into metal oxide? Why it can't be converted into sulfide? Because thermodynamic plays a great role over there. Conversion of oxide is very easier, and from the oxide I can easily able to separate the metal of an interest. Okay. The first step I told you, in the extraction of the crude metal, we have got two steps. First step involves the conversion of oxides into ore. Second step involves the reduction of the oxide into the metal. We will look into the first step in this session. Right. Conversion of ores into its oxide. Let us take a process called roasting. When it is called a process of a roasting, here the sulfide ore is converted into oxide ore. Okay, sir. Roasting is what, sir? Something that we are frying in a pan in a kitchen, sir. As similar to that, but not exactly. Okay, what are we doing it? The ore which has been undergone a process called concentration will be heated with the excess of an oxygen. Okay, sir. It means the concentrated ore is reacting with an oxygen, which means excess of an oxygen, and if that is a condition, that is taking place, we know that all the metal exhibits certain melting points here. If I heat it for prolonged time, the metal starts to melt, right sir, then what we shall do? Yes, you must heat with an excess of an oxygen only below the melting point of a metal, only below the melting point of a metal. If you go above the melting point of a metal, you will not be able to get what you have an intent to get. Okay, let us see some reactions that has been involved here. Let me just take lead sulfide. The lead sulfide over here will undergo a process called roasting, which means it has been treated with an excess of an oxygen. Sulfides will be converted into oxides. So, which is PbO plus SO2. Right. To balance it, so it is 3O2. Similarly, zinc sulfide also can be done in similar way. The reaction goes in a similar manner here. Right. Okay. So, in ore, you will be able to find the metal of an interest along with the impurity, sir. You have told during roasting, the metal sulfide will be converted into metal oxide. Then what will happen with the impurity? Impurities, if present, it is also goes as an volatile oxide. It is also goes as an what? Volatile oxide. Very clearly it has been given. Suppose if my impurity is arsenic or sulfur or phosphorus, it will just go as an oxide very well. If it is an arsenic As, it will be reacting with an oxygen. Since I am heating it with an excess of an oxygen, it will just treat. So, you will be getting As2O3, it goes out so easily. Right. Suppose if my impurity contains phosphorus over there, if it is, it goes as P4O10. As similarly for sulfur also. Sulfur also goes in terms of an oxide very easily, right. So, this is what taking place. When I say roasting, the concentrated ore is heated with an excess of an oxygen below the melting point of a metal. If it is heated below the melting point of a metal, I can easily able to separate the sulfides of the metal to the oxide, and from the oxide, that is second step. We need not to worry about it. We are not going to look into the second step even in this session also. So, our idea is to convert sulfide into oxide. We have done it, and impurities also goes as an volatile oxide just like that, because it shows very less boiling point over there. So, it just goes very easily as an oxide as like that. Then, this is one method. If my ore contains sulfide, I can able to extract the pure form of a metal, or I am able to extract the crude metal using the process called roasting. Suppose if my ore contains carbonate or water of a crystallization, which is hydration, I can use the process called calcination. Okay, in calcination what are we doing? The concentrated ore is also heated strongly in the absence of air or with the limited supply of an air. Okay. In roasting, it is heated with an excess of oxygen. Here, it is heated with the limited amount of an oxygen or even in the absence of air. Okay. If I am heating it, what is happening there? There, what is happening? The one which goes as an impurity depends on the type of compound in which it is existing. Suppose if my carbonate salt contains any sort of an hydration, it will just escape as an hydrated oxide, which is as a moisture. See, let me just take an example. If it is Al2O3, NH2O, let's not worry about the number of water molecule which is present in here, and here if it is heated, not a great temperature, if it is heated with a limited amount of air or even in the absence of air, we will be able to get Al2O3 separately and NH2O separately. So, this is what happening here in this process called calcination. And suppose, let us suppose, if the concentrated ore contains carbonate, this carbonate is heated in order to get an oxide of it by evolving carbon dioxide. So, this is what the process here it is taking place. If any organic matter is present, if any organic matter is present over there, it gets expelled very easily by heating, right. See, if it is a carbonate ore, carbon dioxide goes out. If there is a water of a crystallization which is present there, it will just goes as a moisture very easily. It will just goes as a moisture very easily. So, this is a process called calcination. This process can be opted in order to extract the crude metal if the ore contains carbonate or water of a crystallization. So, this is what regarding this calcination. And to the end, we will look into an evaluate yourself question and we shall wind up this session. Right. So, magnesite, when I say magnesite, it is magnesium carbonate, okay, is calcined. Calcined here, it talks about the process called calcination to obtain magnesia. When I say magnesia, it is MgO, which is used to make the refractory bricks. Okay, fine. Write the decomposition reaction, very easy. Magnesium carbonate. When it is magnesium carbonate, it can be converted into oxides of a magnesium by a process called calcination, which has been given as a calcin here, to give magnesia MgO, then followed by evolution of carbon dioxide as like that. So, it is very easy reaction, right. So, in this session, we have looked into the process called leaching and we have winded up the process concentration by discussing the magnetic separation, and the next stage we have got into it, extraction of a crude metal, in which the very first step we have witnessed with the help of a process called roasting and calcination, right. So, in the next session, we will be getting into how a metal oxide can be reduced into a metal. What are all the processes that can be used for the reduction of a metal oxide to a metal? All these will be contained in the next session, right. If you have any doubts, any sort of doubts regarding the content that was discussed earlier, you can let me know in the comment box below. And don't forget to like, subscribe and comment the ideas and views that you have for the channel. And don't forget to share with your friends also. Thank you for your great support and continue with the support. We shall wind up the session and meet in the next session. Thank you.